create a life you love. Hot Better Pop Radio with your hosts, Kimi Morton and Pua Pakelean Cabot, bringing you tips, tools, inspiration, and motivation to take your life to the next level. Hi, Pua.
Hi, Kimi.
How are you?
I'm good. It's so weird that I can't see you right now.
I know. This is really different. So today's episode is a little bit different. We're not recording from the fabulous Happiness You. I am actually at my home and Pua is at her home. And we are doing this via Skype because I am going on vacation. A vacation/business trip. Business trip sounds so adult. Like it just always sounds weird when I say that.
Right? So fancy.
Right?
I am so pumped for you. Kimi is going to Ari Meisel's Less Doing Live. Kimi, can you just tell us a little bit about what that is?
Absolutely. I mean, this is something that I have had on my calendar for so long. I participated. Well, first of all, Ari Meisel, you've heard me talk about him a million times before. We've talked about him in our podcast, and he is just the productivity guru. And he wrote a fabulous book called Less Doing, More Living. Oh, that reminds me, I have to pack it so that he can sign it for me. And it's this small little book that is so incredibly powerful, and it's all about outsourcing, automating, really creating, using technology especially to create a life that is less stressful and where you get more done in less time. So less doing equals more living. So creating that space for anything that you want to. And I mean, he's just a genius. And I've had the pleasure of being part of his Less Doing boot camp and mastermind. And so I'm really a huge, huge fan. I actually joined the boot camp because I was just like, oh my God, I get to work with him on a more closely and learn from him. And it took me a little while to like in the beginning, I was just totally geeking out on getting to talk to him every week. It was really
starstruck.
Yes, I was starstruck. So, and he's been a great mentor for me and just so helpful and supportive, and really he actually is the one that gave me the idea, or really kind of confirmed the idea to have a podcast, and to go that route. And so he has a great podcast himself. And so I really want to give him a shout out because he's helped so much. We wouldn't be where we are right now had it not been for his support and guidance along the way. So I'm really excited to be going to this event. lessdoinglive.com is where you can find out all about it. And although by the time this airs, I will be full of ideas and hopefully inspiration and not too overwhelmed coming back from it. But basically, over this 3-day course, or 3-day event, participants, this is what it says on the website, participants in this historic conference will learn how to master today's most productive technologies, conquer stress, and take back control of their lives. Isn't that awesome?
That's amazing.
So, what I'm even more excited about, of course, meeting Ari in person is going to be wonderful, but, there's going to be guest presentations by, Joe Polish, Dean Jackson, Dave Asprey, Ben Greenfield. I mean, all of every single podcast that I listen
it's
to.
Our podcast idols right there.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to getting to meet all of my Less Doing Mastermind friends in person. And as of course, we wanted to get another podcast recorded before I leave. And we had this idea, as I'm getting ready to take off for this weekend, at top of mind is what are the things that I do and that help me to get ready for a healthy trip. So I don't believe in just travel as fitness professionals and healthy minded people, healthy travel is important to us. And so we thought that it'd be fun to talk about healthy travel tips, essentially. And what are the things that we do before travel and during travel and after travel in the hopes that maybe this will help you guys. So let's see. I actually leave tomorrow. So I've been jotting down everything that I do in preparation for a trip. So let's just dive in.
Did you want to leave them in a little bit of suspense and thank a couple of fun friends first?
Oh, let's do that.
We actually just launched our podcast yesterday. And before we dive right in, leaving you guys at the edge of your seats for these awesome travel tips, we really just wanted to thank the people who have been supporters on this journey from the very beginning. And we kind of sent messages to our friends yesterday who have been with us along the way, and we've got some great feedback from them already, and we're really excited to finally get the message out on our social media channels this week, and really start to build a great tribe of people who really resonate with us. And we have a couple of shout outs that we just wanted to give to our a couple of friends, and first our friend Trish from Egan's Fit Body Bootcamp, who works out with us in the morning. Trish was so awesome yesterday. She goes, I listened to your How to Be a Morning Person episode, and I ordered a spunk. That is so awesome. Thank you,
woman
Trish.
Of action. We
Totally,
love that.
Totally. She's like, you guys inspired me. I was like, of all the things, you ordered the scary sleep mat. But she's super pumped about it. So thanks. That's so awesome. And my friend Allie, who lives in Connecticut, she's bringing us all the way to the East Coast. Allie was really supportive of this idea from the beginning, and she gave us some great feedback yesterday and this morning. So thanks for listening, Allie. Thanks for subscribing. And if you guys have anything that you want us to talk about, anything you want to learn about and you want to explore with us, please leave us a comment. Right on iTunes would be a perfect place for that, or on any of our social media channels. And thanks, guys.
Pua and I, we love problem solving. So even if whatever challenges you might be experiencing or things that come up for you, both of us really enjoy the process of if we don't know the answer, we will go out there and figure it out for you, because we love the idea of, we firmly believe there is no problem out there that cannot be solved. So send us your challenges, any topics you'd love to hear us talk about. All right. Should we dig in?
We should dig in.
We've successfully built up this, the suspense, I think.
Right?
Okay. So,
let's talk about pre-trip.
Yeah. We're going to break this down, sort of pre-trip, during your trip, and then post-trip. So, obviously, I'm in pre-trip mode right now. And whenever I think about going on a trip, and this is what I recommend to our clients all the time too, is that I like to go into what I call pre-mode. And basically the idea is to have a mindset where you're trying to offset anything that you might not be doing on your trip. I mean, we all have the best intentions, when I go on my trip, I'm going to work out every day and I'm going to eat clean and stick to my goals and get lots of sleep. But, the reality is historically, at least for me, a lot of times that doesn't happen exactly as I intend it to, nor necessarily should it. Part of travel is sort of spontaneity and fun and kind of just going with it. And you're not always traveling by yourself too. So what I like to do is sort of go into this pre-mode where I'm pre-burning, meaning that I'm getting extra workouts in before. So kind of getting that extra caloric and fat burn before I go on my trip, in case I end up at the bar instead of the gym, which has happened. We went to Vegas once, and it was we went down to the spa, and it was $25 for a day at the spa to use the fitness to use the fitness equipment. And we all looked at each other and went, $25? Let's go to the bar. We could get a lot more drinks than for that $25. So So I was, being frugal and really thinking about my finances in that moment.
It's funny, the pre-burn concept, I do the same thing. And part of me, I really like to be a little bit sore from my workout when I'm on the plane. So, and for some reason, it makes me feel better about myself.
Totally.
Is that weird?
No, I know that feeling. Yep.
You know that you've set yourself up for success on your trip, no matter what happens, because you know that you've pushed your body into that point where, okay, well, I have to sit on a plane for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. So why not be in recovery mode and let your muscles start to recover while I sleep or read or whatever.
Yeah, that's such a great point. And, it's always good to walk around when you're on the plane and everything. But yeah, it's nice to I like that muscle soreness. It helps me sleep better too.
We also kind of like it in a sick way.
Yeah, I know.
The more sore you are, the cooler you feel.
Right.
Just kidding.
So sore is the new sexy, right? That's what we always say. So the other pre-mode, element would be to prehydrate. So we all know planes can be dehydrating. We tend to not, have as much access to as much water as we'd like as we're traveling. And so getting, the worst you could do would be to get on a plane already dehydrated. So really prehydrating, flushing your body and then pre-sleeping and resting. And this is one that's, really important because a lot of times what happens is we think, oh my gosh, we leave everything to the last minute, right? And so then we're cutting back on sleep, we're cutting back on our rest, and that compromises our immune system, which we'll talk about in a little bit too. So getting as much sleep as you can, because you never know, what kind of quality sleep you're going to get on your flight or on your trip. So get in a nice rest before your trip.
Yeah, both of those are super crucial. Especially now that we're not allowed to bring liquids on the plane, I feel like that is a big hindrance for people to actually bring water with them. Yeah. And I often get really dehydrated when I travel. I'm not great at remembering to drink water when I'm not super parched. And by that time, you're already dehydrated. So definitely a great idea to prehydrate. I used to not drink anything because I hate plane bathrooms.
Yeah.
So I would purposely dehydrate myself, which is the worst thing you can do. I don't do that anymore. I've just, I suck it up and I use the bathroom on the plane. But
yeah, I'm like that crazy person on the plane that just I take water every time the flight attendant goes by. I'm drinking water. I'm getting up. I get up a million times. I'm walking.
Can I go to the bathroom again?
I'm doing those those awkward people that are stretching in the aisles. That's me. I don't even care. I hate that feeling of cramped legs. And unless I'm on a red eye, then I just try to sleep. But
yeah. And you mentioned it perfectly when you talked about getting sleep before you leave. I sleep on planes, but I'm still tired when I land. And the quality of sleep that you get when you're sitting upright and your knees are all squished, that's just it's not good quality sleep, even if you can knock out on your flight. So definitely rest. I know a lot of people who don't sleep before they travel because they want to try to sleep on the plane. I don't know. I agree with you. I feel like getting sleep and really getting your body in a great position and setting yourself up for success no matter what travel throws at you is a great way to go into a trip for sure.
I just make sure that I don't have caffeine too close to my flight. A lot of times that's another thing people do is they just, they're doing those last minute things. So you try and have a bunch of coffee to help you get through, but then it's harder to sleep once you get on the plane.
Totally.
And then this time what I did is I went on Amazon and I got a neck brace, a travel neck brace, which is a little bit different. My mom had told me about this. She said that, I think she saw Jake Shimabukuro on a flight, and he had a neck brace on because, as a musician, he has to make sure that he's doesn't have a cramped neck, right, wherever he's going.
Right.
And so,
a medical neck brace?
Yeah. So they had, I think his was a medical one. I'm not sure. That's what my mom thought, but I looked on Amazon. They actually have neck braces that are, made for travel. My particular one I got is actually Aloha print. It's kind of nice,
cool.
a Hawaiian print one. So, instead of that, and so it wraps all the way around your neck. And so you get just a lot more stability. So I'm trying it out. I don't know yet. Yeah, I don't know yet, but I'll give you the report after.
Report back. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Another pre-trip tip that I like to do is to clean. And I know that this is a pain. And I actually have a really kind of borderline psychotic pre-trip ritual where I clean my house and then I pack so that I know where everything is. Like I do all my laundry, I put everything away so that I know exactly where to go to get stuff when I need to start packing.
Wow.
And I know that, yeah.
I do the exact same thing.
Crazy.
Really? Yeah, we might be the same person.
Oh my gosh.
It's so crazy.
I feared a little bit of judgment.
I will never judge you.
But it's amazing because you pack all of your things. It makes the packing process really seamless. And then your house is clean for when you come home, which is like, I'm a big fan of rewarding your future self and knowing yourself well enough to know what your habits will be when you return from your trip. And that's a big one for me, is coming home to a clean house.
Sure. And you can, I guess we also have to hope that whoever lives with us is also going to maintain that.
Yeah, and then there's that.
There's that. I remember hearing
we do what we can, right?
I remember
within our control.
Yeah, it is good to clean before. I mean, somebody, I forget if I heard a comedian say this or but it's like that feeling when if you don't clean your house before and you come home and you smell your house and like that's what your house really smells like that smell when you walk back in. So you either, you kind of want to like it or maybe you won't like it. So clean before you go.
So interesting. Ooh, you should make note of how your house smells when you come home.
I know, I'm going to.
My last pre-trip tip is to know your travel plans. And travel can be very, very, very stressful. And I come from a family where travel stress is just a part of it all. And everybody gets super crazy, like 5 hours before the flight up until when we leave. Like everyone's rushing, everyone's yelling at each other. And I just like the stress level is through the roof. Family vacations were like nightmares. And like as soon as we leave the house, we're kind of okay. But you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Oh my gosh. And I have a feeling some people can relate to that. And so when I travel now, I kind of try to look back on that and really try to alleviate a lot of that stress that comes from not being totally prepared, not knowing your travel plans. And so that's my biggest thing, is know your travel plans. Know what time you need to be at the airport, and then know what time you need to leave to get there. Pack with enough time to kind of relax before you leave, and just be very aware of your timeline. And I don't mean to like make an itinerary for every second of your trip, because sometimes that's not that fun and you really want to be spontaneous when you're traveling. But the act of getting to the airport and making sure that you arrive everywhere that you are supposed to arrive in a timely and stress-free manner is super important to me.
Yeah, and reducing stress is so important for boosting your immune system pre-trip. And what I like to do is give myself an extra buffer if possible. So like an extra day of vacation before you actually go on vacation.
Oh, yeah.
Just a day at home. And that's what I did for myself this week. So I made sure that I, wasn't trying to I didn't schedule anything the day before my flight leaves, because I just know all those little things come up. And I also, as soon as my trip was booked, I started a pack list that I had, and just also a list of things that I wanted to get done before my trip, and all those little things, and just a place to drop them, like back up my computer, or, check the mail before I go, whatever it may be. So just being able to kind of unload those things, as the month before goes by, rather than trying to like think of all those things at the last minute. And then, hey, create that in Evernote, and then boom, you've got a template for the next time you take a trip, right?
Totally. And writing it down is huge because keeping all of those checklists in your mind is just going to make you crazy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, that leads us to really boosting your immune system before your trip, which we kind of touched upon a little bit, but reducing stress is like the number one thing that's why we get sick, right? I mean, we are exposed to germs and bugs all day long, but when do we get sick? When we're skimping on sleep, when we're stressed out, like that's when our immune systems are vulnerable. So that's number one for me that I try to be conscious of before a trip. And then I also just really fill my body with immune boosters. Like I've been taking, before this trip, I took the Onnit Shroom Tech. It's actually Shroom Tech Immune. Have you heard of that?
Awesome. Yeah, I did. I haven't tried it, but I've heard about it.
Yeah. So, Onnit makes both, they do a shroom tech that's like a sport where it helps your, lung capacity and performance during exercise, but they also have one that's like specifically for boosting your immune system. And it's just all these like, mushrooms, and they've got crazy names like turkey tail. And, that's really been found to help boost the immune system. So I'm a big fan of medicinal mushrooms.
Very cool.
Yeah. And then also probiotics. So I make sure that I'm getting lots of good probiotics and eating, probiotic rich foods like kimchi and sauerkraut before I go on a trip, so that, the way I think about it is, if I fill my body and my gut with all these good bugs, then all the bad bugs that I might get exposed to won't have the space to fill in. So without populating all that good stuff, you're much more vulnerable for the bad stuff. So that's kind of my pre-trip ritual.
I love that. I'm such a huge fan of, along with cleaning your house before you leave, it's also cleaning your body, right? So you want to get all those extra workouts in, sweat out, build yourself up into this almost a superhuman so that you can tackle whatever comes at you on your trip. And that also is totally linked with eating clean. As you said, filling your body with all of these good nutrients and probiotics. And it's setting yourself up for success. And again, rewarding your future self where, you're traveling, you may not have total control over what you eat, where you eat, who you're with, and what they might want. And it's your time to kind of indulge. Like, don't stress yourself out feeling like you can't, enjoy dessert or have a drink. Like, you're on vacation, enjoy it.
Right.
And set yourself up for having guilt-free indulgences, because that's going to create fun and joy and happiness on your trip.
Right. And I think that that's even easier to do when you have a plan for your return too, which is what we'll talk about next, because, just as, I think that we can enjoy the moment a little bit more when we know that when we come back, we've got those workouts planned. We have a plan for eating clean when we get back. And then that way it's sort of like, you're sort of bookending it. It's like you're you're setting yourself up in the beginning, and then you have this plan for a return. So you're going to get back to your workouts. You're going to get back to eating clean, so you can enjoy those indulgences even more. Mm-hmm. And just like I give myself an extra day of vacation before my travel, I really try to do the same if possible after. So I used to just think, I can't sacrifice this time, so I'm going to hit the ground running as soon as I get back. And it's like, I used to do things like my flight would come in and I'd go straight to work from my flight. And I'm like, that is so crazy. Like, do not do that to yourself if you can avoid it, because it's really worth it to give yourself that little bit of time to decompress, unpack. And I think it's just important to assume that you're going to be more tired and overwhelmed than you think. We're always much more hopeful about how we're going to bounce back from a trip. But again, historically, at least for me, I've definitely seen that I need that full day. And then I'm just so don't book appointments. Try to clear your schedule. Instead of thinking of your vacation as ending on the day that you come back, think of it as ending the following day.
Totally. I love that.
Yeah.
And think about the quality of work that you would do and the value of your time. If you were to go to work right after you get off the plane, that quality of work is likely not going to be your best work. It might you might get a couple things done, but imagine giving yourself that extra day or even an extra few hours to unwind and refresh yourself and then get back to work and,
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And then I also schedule my workouts too. And I think that's really important. I actually put them in my calendar like appointments, and I kind of like to encourage people also to tell somebody. So you need that accountability, right? Because if I just say like, okay, I'm going to go to these workouts when I get back, it's different from saying, hey, Pua, let's go kickboxing on the Wednesday that I get back, after I get back. And then you just have that extra accountability in place. And what I've found is that really it's getting back on the wagon that's harder than anything else. So schedule them in.
Totally. I feel like that's one of the biggest reasons why people don't return to the gym, right? Like, okay, they know they're going to be gone. They've let their trainer know they're going to be gone for 2 weeks, but then you don't see them for 4 weeks.
Right.
And you call them and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I went on my trip and then I got sick. And like, just do it. Just get back in the gym. And that first day is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Yeah. It is, right? But it's all about putting yourself in that position where you're out of your comfort zone and you will thank yourself. I promise.
And it helps with jet lag too. Exercise can really help with jet lag.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Anything else you do before a trip?
Before my trip, I stock my house with non-perishable, nutrient-dense foods that I can eat when I come home.
I love that.
Right? Like you come home, you dump your bags on the ground, and all you want to do is eat. Like you're starving. You didn't want to buy food on the plane, and if you did, it wasn't feeling like there's all the reasons in the world to come home and just eat the first snack that you see.
Right.
And I'm totally that way, and I just don't want to do anything. So if you give yourself options that are going to reward your body, you can't set yourself up for more success than that.
Oh, that is so smart. I don't think I've ever done that, actually. Yeah.
Oh, you should do that today.
I should. And I hate going to the grocery store when I come back from a trip. I just get so tired always and not excited to do it. That's so funny because I always will go and I get, lots of great non-perishable, bars and things to take on my trip, but I don't think so much about what I'm going to bring back. So another thing you could do, actually, we didn't really talk about this, but when you're on your trip, which is what we're going to talk about next, you could actually go to like a Whole Foods or something and pick up some healthy snacks to have with you so that when you go home, you have them. If you don't think about it before your trip, like I might not get to the store before I take off here.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so should we talk about what happens on our trip? Like how we can make things a lot healthier for ourselves? Okay. Well, I mean, we started to talk about some of these things, but I'm going to talk about mushrooms again.
Something to share with us about your mushroom obsession?
Yeah. Just medicinal, not psychedelic. I've just discovered this cool product, and it's made specifically for travelers, and it's called Host Defense. That's the brand, Host Defense. I think that's the brand. Immune, and it's a mushroom spray. So I've taken Host Defense mushrooms before. They're really, really great. But this particular product is they have either cinnamon or peppermint spray, and you can actually spray it in your mouth when you're in areas that are like, maybe high risk for exposure of germs, like an airplane, for example. Oh. And so I pack that, and that is just sort of, I'm not a big fan of Emergency or any of those. They're kind of acidic, and I don't know. I just never know the quality of those vitamin packs. What is the other one people always take? Airborne. I can't hurt. Vitamin C is always a great thing, but I like I do like my mushrooms. So, so host defense immune mushroom spray. And of course, I do keep up with the probiotics and all that other stuff as I'm on my trip as well. And then, one thing you were talking earlier about how you can't bring water anymore and how frustrating that is. And you go and you get water at the airport and it's like $15 for like a small little Fiji water bottle. So I always pack my empty hydro flask with me. And I actually saw Egan do this. I got this idea from Egan Inoue, who we train with. And we went on a neighbor island trip and he had his empty hydro flask with him. And he went to the hotel and they had like a little complimentary water station. And he just filled up his entire 40, or I think it was a 64 ounce hydro flask. I was like, that's genius.
That's brilliant.
I never remember to bring it. So I've got my hydro flask packed.
Here's my tip for that.
Yeah.
Make sure that you dump it out before you go through security.
Oh.
I have a hula brother who goes on trips probably every month.
Yeah.
And every single time he has to go back through the line, back through the x-ray machine because he doesn't empty out his hydro flask. It's easy to forget, especially because they're not clear.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And just a little side note, this isn't necessarily, I guess it's healthy if you think about it, but I also like to pack my little small one that I use for hot liquids. So that way, that's kind of a environmentally friendly little tip too, because then when you're at the hotel, you can fill it up with coffee or, whatever you want to, and it'll keep it hot. So just as a hydro flask keeps things cold, it keeps things hot for a really long time.
I like that.
Yeah. So that's my little, I don't know what size that is, but it's just the little baby one.
You guys don't have to use Hydro Flask either. It's just the bottle of choice that we love.
Yes.
They're amazing.
We're not sponsored by Hydro Flask yet, but Hydro Flask, if you are listening. So just some of the other things that I pack, and these are kind of in no particular order necessarily. I always pack a little travel size. I gave you one of these, remember? A little travel size stevia. Yeah. Yeah. So, stevia, as you know, is a plant-based, 0-calorie sweetener, natural sweetener. And that is one thing that, if I'm on the go, if I'm grabbing coffee, most places don't have stevia, or they have a fake, stevia in the raw, which is not actually real stevia, or it's cut with some other sugars. And so I love to have my Sweet Leaf brand. So Sweet Leaf makes a little tiny baby one that you can keep in your purse. And that's just a really great thing to have, so that I don't have to, have any unwanted sugar that I don't want to. It's just a small little thing that you can do. And, sugar is one of those things, the more sugar you have, the more sugar you want. And psychologically too, you just start feeling well, geez, I had to put this, this horrible white cane sugar in my coffee this morning. So forget it. I might as well just have a donut and anything else that I see. It's it's like a gateway thing, right? So, I like having my little travel stevia. And then Trish is going to love this one. This is another thing I pack. I pack a travel size spunk.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So a lot of the spunks, and if you guys didn't hear that episode, we talked about our spunk, which is a sleep induction mat. And Spunk in particular, that brand has a set where you can get the full size spunk, or you can get the travel, and it comes with the travel size. So it's real tiny and it rolls up. And, I like to I can have it on the plane. I can have it in my hotel room. It helps, it's, got those good acupressure points, and, so cool. Travel spunk. And then I also pack with me just some other kind of, cool nutrients, I guess. This is sort of getting into the biohacking realm here, but I always pack with me things that are going to help me with my digestion, as I don't necessarily know what the quality of food is that I'm going to be eating. So, travel, with that comes a lot of like trying foods. You don't know, at home you can control what you're eating, but on the go, you don't know, and you don't want to know necessarily either, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's a time to, as you say, indulge. And the way that we can offset some of those things, one thing that I pack is activated charcoal. So I get the Bulletproof Upgraded Self brand from Dave Asprey. And that is just, charcoal is like basically what they give people maybe when they have like alcohol poisoning or food poisoning. It helps
their stomach.
Yeah, it helps to absorb toxins. So if you have food poisoning or you're eating food of unknown origin and you want to just kind of be on the safe side, or if you've had a lot of alcohol too, that might happen when I travel, then activated charcoal is a great thing to have. So if you have that little bit of stomach upset, you want to kind of watch how much you have, because it can be a little constipating. And sorry, I just feel so sexy when I say that word. And so that's one thing that I always have with me. I also make sure to have digestive enzymes for kind of the same reason. Just, I don't know necessarily how well my body's going to do. I eat pretty clean most of the time. So if I am indulging, it's nice to have just a little extra enzyme support. As I said, I keep up with my probiotics, and then I always pack some kind of powdered greens as well with me. And that is just a nice way. I've been on trips where I'm like, really? Like, no one is eating vegetables. Okay, that's a thing still? Like, it's just crazy to me how some places you go, people just don't eat vegetables still. And
it might not be an option for whatever your trip has planned for you, if you're, especially with a group of people.
Yeah, exactly. So I always pack powdered greens. I love I usually take Purium powdered greens, but there's like a billion types of powdered greens out there that are really great quality. So, they're worth it to kind of taste test them before, because I remember once going on a trip and I brought some and I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm just eating a bite of ground right now. Like I should have.
I tried something like that recently. Yeah,
like I
you
might
gotta plug your nose and chug it.
Yeah, you just like go and take a bite out of a lawn. And then
taste testing is really important.
Definitely. Especially because the marketing can be so deceiving, and they're like, delicious chocolatey taste. I'm like, what planet is that chocolate? And so I also pack magnesium, which can be really great for, I'm going to say it again, travel constipation.
So sexy.
Yeah, right. And, but yeah, sometimes you travel and you can kind of get a little stuck because
every time I travel, actually.
Lack of water or whatever it may be. So magnesium is a natural muscle relaxant, and it can actually help with your sleep as well. So after being on a plane too, magnesium is kind of a good thing to have. We can get kind of depleted of it, especially if we've been drinking a lot of alcohol too and excreting things. So magnesium is just a great, I use the Calm magnesium. I like to pack that with me. And then I always pack melatonin. And the thing about melatonin is, you definitely, like for me, I don't like to, it's not something I recommend people taking all the time, because it can, affect your own melatonin production. But jet lag is a really great way to utilize this supplement. And so just make sure, do a little research on melatonin and how to take it. You kind of want to take it with the, whenever you get there, take it just before you want to go to bed. So it helps to reset your body clock for whatever time zone you're going to. But again, it's not something that in regular everyday life you want to be taking every day. If you're having trouble sleeping and you feel like melatonin is the only thing to help you sleep, you probably want to take a better look at that and look at your other sleep habits and some other issues and imbalances that might be going on. Because melatonin is a hormone. Like you want to be careful with it when you supplement with it. And the brand that I really like is called Tranquil Sleep. And it's got a few other things in there too that kind of just help to relax you. So you can take it, when you get there and then a couple days after you return from your trip. But those are sort of my supplements that I take with me.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then we talked a little bit about travel, working out when you travel. And if you can get yourself to do it, that is a really great way to beat jet lag. And it's a really great way to, again, offset any debauchery and just to kind of help you stay on track. And I like to pack a jump rope and then you're like the crazy person jumping and freak out your hotel neighbors. They're like, what's going on up there? But then you can also just pick a gym that has a hotel in it and make sure to pack your shoes.
A hotel that has a gym in it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, a gym that has a hotel in it. That's what we need to invent.
Did I say a gym that has? Oh my God, that's so funny. I love it. I basically feel, I love it. Okay, yeah. A hotel that has a gym in it.
It took me a second to realize.
Even after I said it, I was like, did I say that? Okay, so I always remember, this is the thing I always forget that I try to remember, and I'm so glad we kind of talked about this before because I packed it. I like to remember my armband to hold my phone and my earbuds. And a lot of times I'll forget my armband because I'm not thinking like I'm going to go for a run necessarily. But it's so nice to go to the hotel gym and just, have that. And create a little fun playlist that gets you excited to hit the gym when you get there. That could make it a little bit more enticing. Another great reason to pack that armband is there's, some really great apps that you can use for working out too. And a couple of the ones that I've recommended, I love 12-minute workout. Have you ever seen that app? Mm-hmm. It's kind of cool. You can like shake it and it creates a little workout for you. I think you can do like a 12 or a 16-minute workout. But one that I just discovered also is called Sworkit. Yeah. SWORK. Sworkit. And that has yoga, stretching, strength, and cardio options. And they actually have a short little video clip of the exercise and really fun exercises. And you can also hook up your music to it. You can also like earn points and stuff. I haven't really got into that part yet, but I've been sworking it a little bit, just trying it out.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
YouTube actually also has some super cool workout ideas for travel.
Oh, that's a great tip.
YouTube has everything, and some things are a little bit, they might resonate with you more than others.
Right.
I recently saw this YouTube, I was looking up workout ideas for our classes, and it was this like massively jacked up guy who was doing all sorts of different kinds of push-ups, and it was hilarious. And I actually got down on the ground and tried a couple of it's fun. And if you're traveling alone and you're alone in a hotel room, you can try whatever you want.
You can do whatever. You can just dance if you wanted to. Dance in your hotel room. I might do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I use YouTube a lot when I travel.
Yeah.
Have you ever taken sliders with you when you travel?
Oh my God. I have never taken sliders, nor do I ever plan to take sliders. But I think there are people out there that would.
I'm sure. Well, I've done it, and it's actually, so sliders are actually the little things that you put under your furniture so that you can slide your furniture around the room. That is their original purpose. And I did not know that. I thought they were for exercise because we use them at the gym that we work at, and we put them under our feet, and everyone calls them like torture pancakes.
Yes.
And we all hate them. They're the worst. But they travel very, very well. They are flat. They're super light. And as a joke, one of our members gave me a pair of sliders for Christmas the other year. And it was all funny until I took it on my trip and I realized that they were awesome. You can get a great sweat, put together a couple exercises, download an exercise timer on your phone with like some intervals that you can preset and try out your workout before you go if you want. And they're really cool, and you don't need any space, really. You can just do it right next to your bed in your hotel room or wherever you are outside in the park.
They'll slide really good on a hotel floor. room,
Especially on the
hotel room
carpet.
floor. Yeah. Okay. So I have some furniture sliders here at my house. Maybe I will give it a try this time.
Do it.
Yeah. Slider mountain climbers are so brutal. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
or
get
that one where
sweat.
you're like, oh yeah, the pike too. Like there's so many great exercises.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm willing to give a shot.
Yeah.
I'll let you know. We'll have to do like a report back after my trip and see. I'm going to be like, I was at the bar the whole time.
But I had my sliders in my purse.
I gave them away to someone.
I got drunk enough and then I did some sliders in the bar. Everyone thought I was super cool.
Oh God, that might happen. Okay, so anything else that you do on your trip?
Yeah. So the one thing that I really like to do when I travel, and I know this is going to sound a little bit out there, but I'm a big believer in getting grounded in wherever you are.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
I'm going to sound like a crazy person. So I feel like wherever we go gives off a different energy and a different vibration. And I really like to kind of get in tune with wherever I am by just walking outside. And all the research, a lot of like yoga practitioners believe in this. And a lot of times you're recommended to do it barefoot. You don't have to. But more so than just getting acclimated with my surroundings and walking around wherever I am, I just kind of help to get in tune with my new location.
Yeah. I love that so much. I've actually heard that. I've never done it. And maybe this will be a great opportunity to try it. But yeah, I've heard that it helps with jet lag too. And just, it's like you kind of
just weirdly settles you. Like,
yeah, imagine how crazy it is, right? That like now it's not that long that we've been able to fly from one place to another. It's like, are our bodies ready for that? And how can we help our bodies to adjust to such rapid travel? It's no wonder we get jet lagged. It's just kind of such a crazy thing.
Totally. Yeah. Give it a try. Let me know. I don't know if it's just in my head or what, but I really enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I do during my trip, oh my gosh, this whole episode, people are going to be like, this woman needs help. I constantly unpack and repack when I travel. And sometimes it's because I'm doing multiple stops. But the clutter of my suitcase kind of gets me. And I'm a firm believer in packing to unpack. And something that I hate to do is come home and unpack my bags. I am the person, of all the crazy things that I do to reward my future self, I like to just leave my bag unpacked for like weeks. So in order to help that person that I have come to realize is myself, is I'll pack as I'm traveling with the objective to ease the unpacking process. So like, for example, I have 2 dirty laundry bags. One has whites, one has colors. So that when I'm ready to get home, all I do is I dump the laundry bag straight into the washing machine.
Wow.
I don't want to have to sort it. Wow. Yeah. Like just make things easier. Like I feel super lazy when I come home and all I want to do is take a shower and go to sleep. But I force myself to unpack because I know myself well enough that if I don't do it then, it won't happen for God knows how long. So that's my thing is pack to unpack.
That is brilliant. So you bring like, do you have like a laundry bag or you like just, I guess you could just use trash bag or something.
Bags. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Cool. And are you the type that like when you get to a hotel room, do you unpack everything and like use the drawers and
I never used to be. I always lived out of my suitcase. I'm kind of like a newfound organizer.
Yeah, okay.
I had these like dirty little secrets where I was kind of a dirty person. Like I would just, rummage through my stuff until I found what I wanted. But that stress is something that I wanted to let go of. So I've started to unpack and I actually kind of like it. Yeah. But I get paranoid that I'm going to leave things in the drawer.
Right.
So then I get really weird about checking everything 5 times.
Yeah. I'm always like, I have to keep my hotel room neat too. Like it bugs me when it gets like super out of control. Like that's when I feel like I'm going to forget things actually when I'm, when everything's everywhere.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And I forgot one thing too that I always pack, and that's a journal. And
Yeah.
I feel like trips are such a great opportunity for, you're getting out of your everyday routine. And that's when ideas and creative sparks really happen and we kind of get reinvigorated. And I just love having a place to, keep all that. And I feel like I've done that, ever since I traveled as a child, I think. And just to come back and have that, it serves as a memento, of where you were and all the exciting things. And then it's also just like all the ideas that you come up with as you're traveling, just have a place to unload. And also I like the idea of a journal that is not whereas I keep a lot of journals on my computer and things like that. And I do usually take my computer when I travel. There's something about just being able to unplug while you're away and expectations are a little bit lighter on you and you can just sit there with a journal and kind of brain dump a little bit.
I love that.
Yeah. All right. So we've made it through our healthy trip and what do we do after? What's your after your trip tips for us? For me, I go into post burn mode. So post mode. So we had pre mode and then post mode. So we talked about having those workouts that are already scheduled. As we said, it's kind of what you had pointed out, that how we don't see people they were gone for 2 weeks, but then we don't see them for 4 weeks. And what I always tell people is it's usually not your vacations that derail your fitness and nutrition. A lot of people think that every time I go on vacation, I blow it and I have to start from scratch. But really it's not those little blips in time so much as the getting back in the groove that tends to derail us even more. So your trips, our bodies can handle a few days of indulgent eating and kind of doing whatever, but our bodies have a much harder time if that week turns into 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. So having those workouts, again, hydrating, just like we pre-hydrated, post-hydrate, and then having that time to really catch up on your sleep. I think part of that comes from being easy on yourself as far as, hopefully you planned and gave yourself a little bit of extra time, but we tend to put really harsh expectations on ourselves of what what we want to achieve when we get back. And how many times have you felt or heard someone say God, I need a vacation from my vacation after my vacation, right? It's
totally.
There's I just saw a quote that said, there's nobody that needs a vacation more than someone that just took one. And I think a lot of that comes from the way that we harshly judge ourselves for not, getting back in the groove as quickly as we'd like. And I think a few things happen. Not only is that added stress that we don't need, but then it sort of sucks the joy out of the experience and sort of taints it in a way where we start going gosh, I didn't, was it even worth it to take that trip? And I think that's a real dangerous path to go in our brains because travel is important and getting out of your routine is important. And if you come back and you feel so unhappy with the reality of your life and it feels too much, that might be a sign of a bigger issue going on, where, as they say, if you don't want to feel like you need vacations all the time, then it's partly about creating a life that you love and inspires you so much and isn't so stressful that you feel like you need to get away from it. So I think anything we can do that eliminates that feeling that it wasn't worth it to take our trip is a really good idea.
Yeah, that's a great call. And I think that's something that people experience more often than we realize. Yeah. And I know a lot of people who do practice taking the day after their trip off of work. And it's like a must for these people. And I feel like their quality of work and quality of life for the days after that additional day of rest is much better. And just as you said, they're able to appreciate their experience so much more. They don't resent it when they're tired and having to get things done.
Right. Yeah. And that's a great time too, to when you get back from your trip, rein your eating back in, cut out the alcohol, cut back on caffeine, cut back on sugar, eat your greens because, your body is going to need that nourishment. It will help you to get get back in the groove too, because you don't need that added, on top of your stress. You don't need to also feel like crap too, right? But yeah, it's a really special time, I think, when you return from a trip, and to avoid that culture shock, it's just important that we're, I don't know, kind to ourselves and a little bit more gentle to ourselves when we return.
Totally. And I think this is a great thing to be mindful of, because I know I feel this way. Like, I kind of have a little bit of an ego in the way that, like, I think that I can, when I get back from my trip, sure, I can do that. Sure, I can meet you there. Sure, I can get back to work right away. Because at the time you're like, I'll be okay. Yeah. But letting go of that and swallowing your pride and realizing, like, hey, you are going to thank yourself by, giving yourself an extra day, allowing yourself to sleep, rehydrating, cleaning up your eating. And that's another thing that I see kind of often, is that people will go on a trip and they'll be like, wow, it's so weird. I ate so much, but I lost weight.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what did you do on your trip? And they're like, well, we went here and there and we walked everywhere and we did a bike tour, and they were actually very active, and they may have been eating foods that they don't usually indulge in, but maybe their portion sizes were smaller. Whatever it was allowed their body to maintain some sort of balance.
Probably stress reduction too, right?
Yeah, totally. And so people return home, and it's a little bit of a false positive where they're like, whoa, I ate burgers all day, every day, and I lost weight. So, like, just being mindful that there are several different components that are playing on your body when you travel, and that, when you return home and back to the life that you live, to bring things back and clean up your eating, maybe get a little extra greens in, cut out some of the junk.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anything else you do after a trip? You walk on the ground.
I do. Because you have to reground yourself.
We're so lucky we live in Hawaii, right? We can go take a dip in the ocean. I think that's the best way to get regrounded after. Yeah.
Absolutely. Dig your feet into the sand. But even if you don't, if you just walk outside, even if it's snowing, like, just stand out on your porch or anything that just kind of helps you to reconnect with your environment in an unplugged, meditative state, even if it's just for a couple of minutes. Just kind of welcome yourself back home. I think it's really important.
I love that.
And the other thing that I do to play off of that is to debrief your trip with, friends and family. Read your journal. Allow yourself to acknowledge the experiences that you had, even if it was, a trip that didn't necessarily go your way, or if it was just for work. There's nothing about travel that we can't take lessons from, because that's the beauty of travel. No matter what it is, it's getting you out of your normal state. And I have a travel bug, like, deeply built inside me. So that's a step that I never, ever miss, because I think it's so important.
Yeah. Yeah. We both did semester at sea, right?
We did.
Yeah. Yeah. I love travel, but I've never been to New York. I think that's so crazy. Yeah. I just, that they say, right? You should every year you should go someplace you've never gone. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So check. I'm super excited. Well, those were our tips, and I hope that I am so inspired. I'm like, have all these new things now that I want to try before I'm gonna. I'll be the crazy girl walking around barefoot in New York, trying to ground myself when I get there.
Yay! Spread the crazy. I love it.
And I'll be the one with the sliders in the bar.
I don't know about that. Text me before you start to do that.
Right.
I'll talk you out of it.
Thank you. Thanks for being on call for that. And I guess we will have another episode coming your way soon. Thank you again so much for all the great feedback. We look forward to hearing from you. And Pua, I will see you when I get back.
That is amazing. Have a
wonderful trip. You're taking me to the airport.
I am.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks
see you tomorrow.
What a great friend.
You've been listening to Hot Better Pop Radio. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode.
For more tips, tools, resources, motivation, and inspiration to create a life you love, visit us at hotbetterpop.com.